Hey friends, it's Rebecca. It is now time for that critical step of making our grocery list before we go shopping. Of course, you should have your meal plan already, and if you're not sure how to throw a meal plan together, check out the videos before this one. Hopefully that will give you a lot of extra help and some hints and tips. So right now, it's time to make the grocery list. So let me show you what I've got going on here. Is simply just my setup, which is my iPad, which has all of my online recipes. I save them to my calendar so I can just click on them as I go. My meal plan, of course. And this is a cookbook that I know we're going to make a few meals from, so I've got this out too. So my plan here today is to go through my meal plan, which you can see right here, maybe. Go through my meal plan and start my list. So as you probably know, the way that I create my list is rather than writing it down on a piece of paper is I employ my good friend, A-Dog, otherwise known as Alexa, and she keeps the list for me. So I just start to go through the list of what's on what's on the actual recipe. So crab avocado and black bean tostadas is on the list. I do not have lump crab meat, so I just say, Alexa, add crab meat lump 1 pound to the shopping list.
Crab meat lump 1 pound added.
Now I always go through and tell her the main item at first because she'll categorize this for me. So she won't know how to categorize lump, but she knows how to categorize crab. So through a lot of trial and error, I learned how to use her more effectively. Add jalapeno to the shopping list.
Jalapeno added.
Add black beans 15-ounce can.
Black beans 15-ounce can added.
Add radishes to the shopping list.
Radishes added.
Add red onions.
Red onions added.
And so on and so forth. Alexa, stop. So I'll go through that. But what I'll also do as I need to is I'll just walk around. I don't know if we have enough cumin, so I'll just go here. Yes, definitely do. But if we didn't, I would just say, hey, A-Dog, add cumin to the shopping list, and she would. So the beauty of using your home assistant or your smart home features really does go a long way. And then we will pull up that list once we get to the grocery store on my phone, so I don't have a separate list to keep track of, and I can check it off as I go. So next time I see you, we'll be at the grocery store. And friends, a couple more things before I even go to the grocery store. I forgot to tell you. 1, go through the refrigerator. Get rid of all of the stuff that's old and yucky, like lettuce, things like cilantro, parsley, or any other sort of herbs that have been in there for just too long. Before you even go to the store, clean out your fridge and make sure you've got room for the new stuff. Also, take a quick check over all of your other containers in the fridge to make sure that they are also, if they're expired or not going to be eaten, either put in the fridge or put in the freezer or just dump them. Also, it's really important, make sure you have some clean space so that when you come back, you can go ahead and start to organize things and make it a little easier and a lot faster. Okay, friends, off to the grocery store. Let's get after it. Was walking through the grocery store, I took a few pictures of some foods and some deals that I wanted to share with you. So as you go through your grocery store and do your shopping, even if it's not on your list, these are the kind of deals that you might consider if you've got room in your budget. The first one, look here, strawberries, 2 for $1. Awesome. Anytime that you can get berries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, 2 for $1, that's a great deal. Next up, walking through the canned goods aisle. Black beans, and not just the black beans, it was actually the garbanzo beans, pinto beans, kidney beans. All the canned beans were $5 for $5 for this particular brand. The beans are an amazing staple to have if you don't already make good use of them. Beans can be added to so many different things. First and foremost, you can simply just puree them in a blender with a little bit of olive oil, some spices, salt, pepper, and you've got an instant dip. It really is just that easy to make dip. Just puree some black beans and maybe some jalapenos. Also, black beans are amazing to put in your salads if you need something to have a little bit more starch or a little bit more carbohydrates and some quality protein. These beans are a great option. Wonderful for soups, as you probably know. Also, they're a great side dish. There's a lot of side dishes that you can make with beans. Just put 1 or 2 different kinds of beans in a pot, cook them up with some spices, maybe some olive oil or maybe some chicken broth, and you've got a wonderful side dish. So 5 for $5, not a bad deal. Cruising down the cereal aisle, what do I find but oatmeal? Half price, pretty much. And it wasn't on my list. We do eat oatmeal once or twice a week for breakfast, so of course I'm going to buy it. Again, $2, I had the room in my budget. Now, I'm not going to have to buy oatmeal for quite a while, and at this price, it was well worth it. So things like that, even if it's not on your meal plan, you have room in the budget, and it's something you eat regularly, pick it up, save some money for the long run. Next up, cruising down the protein bar aisle. I do like the Luna bars. 10 for $10, you can't beat that. I did buy a handful of these. My husband likes them. I like them. They're a great snack or a great in between a meal if you just need something to eat, but you don't really want to make anything. This is a great snack option to have, and for $1 a piece, you can't go wrong. So I picked up a few of those. Finally, rolling into the meat aisle. I did not find a 2-for-1 deal this week, but I did find the tri-tip roast that's seasoned. For those of you who don't want to spend a ton of time looking up a recipe, but you still want delicious food, buying pre-seasoned meats can be the way to go. You definitely want to check and see what the seasonings are made out of, but to get something like this, you can pop it in the oven or you pop it in the crock pot. You don't have to do any preparation to it. And then all you have to do is scare up some vegetables and maybe a side of beans or maybe a potato or some cooked quinoa that you may have already had in your refrigerator. And look at how quick a meal that is actually a home-cooked, delicious meal can come together. As you're walking around the grocery store, if you have room in your budget, do watch for the deals and make sure that if it's something that you maybe passed by on the ads, but now as you're walking through the store, it seems like a good idea. If it's something that you can store, you have room in the budget, pick it up. So if you don't make anything with the extra items the week that you buy them, make sure that you take the time to go through your kitchen as you put together your meal plan for the following week so that you can use those items. That way you've already got them, you don't have to go to the store for them, you don't have to buy any more items, and it's a lot easier because you get focused in on exactly what you need to buy. Okay, everybody, back from the store. I didn't get to take a lot of video in the store because it felt kind of weird. So anyway, went to the store. I have 4 bags, and the way that I put the bags when I bagged the groceries, I put them together so that they'll be really easy to unpack. Show them to you this way. I don't know if you can see. Yep, there we go. So first bag is all the veggies and the produce. Second bag is mostly things that need to go in the fridge. And then the third bag is canned goods, and then the last bag is also canned goods, along with, any kind of pantry type staples. As soon as I get home, I can put them, the pantry bags near the pantry, the other bag by the fridge. I know it sounds little, but it is a time saver. Now, one thing that you can do once you have things unpacked or as you pull things out, if you want to make a batch of rice, or especially quinoa. Quinoa takes about 15 minutes to make, which is about the perfect time that it will take for you to unpack all of your groceries and kind of put your kitchen back together again. That's the first thing I'll grab. I'll throw it in a pot of water, get it boiling, and I'll unpack all my groceries right then and there while it's boiling. Now I've just batch cooked something that I'll use 2 or 3 times during the week while I was doing something completely different. Next, some handy tips for putting away your produce. Not all produce should be stored all right next to each other, and not all produce should be on the counter, not all should be in the fridge. So here's some helpful hints. 1, apples should be stored a little bit on their own. They give off a gas called ethylene, and that actually helps them ripen, but it also helps them ripen everything around them. So I keep a little bit of distance between them and the other items that I store on the counter. On the countertop, avocados, tomatoes, peppers, lemons, limes, all your citrus fruits, they can all be stored on the countertop. And then your apples, if you're gonna eat them in 7 days, can also be on the countertop. Otherwise, pop them in the fridge if you're gonna keep them there for longer. Also, all of these plastic bags, I hate to waste them. So I put them all in one inside of another and bring them actually over to a drawer where I have them all kind of stashed away. Every time I cook, I bring out a bag or two and I put it on the counter, and that's my garbage. So it's my garbage for any cuttings that I might have, or just anything, any packages or anything at all. That way I can put all of my garbage on the counter as I am cooking. I don't have to keep running back and forth to the garbage, and at least I can reuse them in some way, shape, or form. So that's really helpful too. Another thing, onions are fun. So these guys need to go in a cool, dry place. So I put them in my pantry, but it's important that onions are stored in your pantry, not by potatoes. As you can probably see here, potatoes here, onions here. They don't play well together. I actually don't know the real reason, but that was just a little piece of advice that I learned. So onions, potatoes are not friends. They should, even though they both need to be stored in a cool, dry place, not together, okay? They don't play nice. All right, gang, it's Rebecca. So you have finally finished all of the steps, at least 1 through 8, of making a meal plan that helps to make your life a little easier, helps to ease anxiety, save money, and save time. So what is next? Live on and live into your meal plan. And here's how you start. When Monday morning rolls around, look on your meal plan. If you've planned breakfast, make what's on your meal plan. Make the meal as you've planned. When lunch rolls around, make the meal as you've planned. Now, if you're not hungry for that kind of thing, maybe you can go on to the next day and swap the lunches around. That's what a plan is for. It's just giving you a basis from which you can kind of make some decisions and make changes if you need to. So don't worry about that. Feel free to make changes and adjust as you go, but try to make the meals at least within a day or two of when you plan them so that the food stays fresh. Each evening or whenever you are in the kitchen making most of your meals, stop for a second, look at the next day or two of your meal plan and ask yourself, is there something I can batch prep or batch cook to get ahead for the next day or the next day after that? I usually do this at night, but of course it depends on you and your lifestyle, but whenever you find yourself in the kitchen for the longest preparing for your meal, always look and see what's 5 more minutes today, if it'll save you 10 minutes and some dishes the next day. You should be able to repeat this all the days through your plan and life will go smoothly. However, I have had some experience with some bumps along the road, and I'd like to share some of those tips and tricks that I've learned and that have come to become time savers for me with you. If you missed an ingredient at the store for a recipe in your meal plan, don't sweat it out. All you have to do is ask Google. No reason to kick out an entire recipe or an entire meal just because of one ingredient. You can almost always find a workaround. Do your best to put the portions aside for future meals when you are cooking in batches. But remember, if we're hungry and we end up eating the extra portions, it's not a big deal. The plan is there so that we have something from which we can make better decisions in our future meals. So if you've overeaten something, not a big deal. At least now you know you won't have the chicken for the next day if that's what you overate. So find out, do you have a replacement? Do you have a replacement protein that will work? If not, cook one up, or maybe even scrap that meal altogether, bring another meal forward from a following day, and you'll be fine. Generally, what happens is we plan for too many meals, and by the end of the week, we have found, at least in our house, that we've not made at least 1, if not 2 of the meals that were planned. In that case, I say, yay, I just move them on to the next week, and I know I already have those items all set and ready to go for my plan for the next week. But again, if you run into those types of bumps, it's not a big deal. That's what the plan is for, to help you identify in advance what might need to change so that you can do something right away. So when that time comes, again, you save time, you save money, you ease your anxiety because you already have an idea of what you're going to do to recover from that hiccup. Anything that doesn't get eaten, let's say you expect that your family eats a complete meal that you've made and you have at least 1 or 2 portions left, put it into a container that can go in the fridge, that can go in the microwave, and that can go in the freezer. They have those out there. They're a little more expensive, but invest in it. It will save you, again, a lot of time and money and food if you go ahead and put your portions in there, pop it in the fridge. If after a couple days you don't eat that portion, put it in the freezer. Now you have an extra meal, or at least an extra portion of something that you can pop forward in the event that you have the opposite problem and you overeat something. Also, update your plan when something happens. Literally walk over to your plan with your pencil and erase what was there, put what will be there, and then if there's any ramifications along the week, make sure that you make adjustments or updates, or go on your computer or wherever you have your plan. But make those updates so that you don't have to remember. Again, we want to ease anxiety, so just put it all out there on the plan so that you know what's going on, or that somebody else in your family knows what's going on. After a time, you will start to understand the bits and pieces of meals that can come together and taste great for you and your family. And look forward to my next set of videos. It's going to be the blueprint meal video. It's a way to bring pieces and parts of meals together using different spices or sauces to create a whole new meal using a lot of the same ingredients. This saves, again, a lot of time, a lot of money, and your anxiety level down to 0. Finally, allow yourself to deviate from the plan if needed. The plan is there so that you have pre-decided options. And you can see what happens if you swap some meals around today, what that means for the rest of the week. The plan is just there to make sure that you know what's going on. Again, it eases your anxiety. And just for fun, watch the next video. I've gotten some snapshots and snippets out of our week of the meal plan I created earlier in this video series. So you can see kind of the bumps that my husband and I generally run into on a weekly basis as we work through our meal plan, but also the secrets that I have come to know that help me save time, money, and ease anxiety, to work through those bumps and to use my meal plan as my ally. So stay tuned for those.